We're 6 days in training camp, and the offense is continuing to look better. We talk about that next on the Unbearable Sports Podcast.
We're going to take the North and never give it back.
So that's a good pick. You get the corner. I got to go bold, right? I got to go bold for this.
Yeah, she's got some nice.
Welcome back to the Unbearable Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Brad. Make sure to like and subscribe if you're out there on YouTube so you do not miss another Chicago Bears update. And also, rate the show 5 stars everywhere that you get your podcast. You can download it. Just simply search for Unbearable Sports. What's going on, everybody? Like I said, day 6 of training camp is in the books. So we're going to be breaking it all down today. And this is the second day with pads. And there was a lot of talk about, there were some big pops out there. Lots of popping out there, which we absolutely love to hear. Just, it's great that they have the pads on, because now we can start learning a little bit more about this offensive line and a little bit more, especially in the run game. Like we know, yesterday was very, very heavy in the run installs. Today, there's some good passing pieces out there that we will talk about. So, like we always do, let's break down the injuries. So, always got to get the injuries out of the way. And what was reported, Kevin Fishbane mentioned this, wide receiver Luther Burton out there in team drills. And also, another note, Luther Burton practicing with some of the ones today. So great to see that. Great to see this quick ramp up time. Courtney Cronin actually tweeted about this, that, yeah, it's like you saw just this quick ramp up with Luther Burton. To me, we knew that they really liked him. He's obviously very, very talented. And also Ben Johnson was even asked a little bit about it too. And he just talked about, since he missed all that time, let's try and just get him up to speed a little bit quicker. So the gas is going to be on for Luther Burton. Other pieces too, Doug Kramer is back after missing Monday's practice, and Passanio is practicing after leaving yesterday's practice with that hand and wrist injury. So something that you love to see. The next piece too, no Zay Frazier, Shamar Turner, or Bill Murray. And we also got an update with Shamar Turner yesterday. I already had the show out, so I wasn't able to kind of cover this, but Shamar Turner is going to miss around a month. So your rookie defensive tackle that you're kind of hoping, yet again, he's just a depth piece, but still someone that I felt was very, very raw coming out, right? He had all those moves. It would be nice to see him out there, because defensive tackle takes a while to understand, but that's just the way it is. With that high sprain with the sprained ankle, he's going to expect to miss a month. So my guess, probably a high sprain. I'm not a medical professional by any stretch of the imagination, but I have sprained my ankle enough times to know the difference between a normal sprain and a high ankle sprain, because high ankle sprains, not fun whatsoever. So let's kind of continue to talk a little bit about the instant reactions. And like I said at the very top, pads were on, big pops were happening everywhere, but also too with Luther Burton out there. And one of the big storylines that people said is Luther Burton out there with the ones, and got called out for lining up improperly today. So got absolutely chewed out by Ben Johnson. And Ben Johnson was actually interviewed before on, before this practice. He was asked about Luther Burton, and he did say that he was a little behind right now. And the exact quote, "It shows up already. We were in walkthrough yesterday afternoon, and the misalignments, we have to rehuddle. We have to start it all over again. He's a little behind right now." So, like we said, he missed a lot of the stuff. It's nice to see him at least out there, and you can just see how important they feel he is. Now, the biggest piece is, I kind of get some Anthony Miller vibes a little bit with Luther Burton, where he's like a very cool persona, but at the same time, you don't want that to be arrogance. So now everything seems like Luther Burton's handling it well. We'll continue to monitor this, but very explosive athlete. Would love to just see this continuously going. But yeah, very early on, this is his second practice back. So yeah, he's going to get chewed out like everybody else. Ben setting the tone for this offense. But that's kind of the basic instant reactions out there. And let's go over to the hype train, where, quite frankly, I didn't jot anybody down for the hype train or the reality check segment today. So I'm actually just kind of quickly going through some of my notes just to see if there's anyone that kind of shines with any of these pieces. It feels like DJ was featured a lot more today. But I'm actually going to give it to Caleb Williams for the hype train, just because the vibes that are coming out is that Caleb Williams is playing better today than he was yesterday. And this is the progression that we are hoping that we are going to be seeing. And out here, we have Barb Chair Scott saying Caleb is in the zone today. You can tell he's learning. And Greg Bragg's replying, doing a quote tweet off of that, saying especially with the play action. So little subtle hint that there's some play action going out there as well. But also too, Adam Hogue had this about Caleb Williams too from an interview with Ben Johnson. When Ben Johnson said this about Caleb Williams, saying, I probably just see growth. He is so much more comfortable right now. Even yesterday, the walkthrough, in terms of moving around, we go from under center to tight ends are moving. The receivers are moving. We're adding more every day. I told him this on the player's day off. His process is really clean right now. I'm talking about how he's preparing. I'm really pleased with it. He's doing the work behind the scene that no one else is seeing, and we're starting to see the dividends being paid from it. So exciting stuff right there. So yeah, I'm going to give the hype train to Caleb Williams because, like, Colson Loveland got it yesterday, but Caleb's getting it now because Caleb's just getting a lot of love. He's getting a lot of love with a lot of his performance, which will go into more of the offense. And for the reality check, I kind of want to, this isn't a huge negative, right? But I wanted to at least just bring this up because this was from Albert Breer, which kind of hits us with this reality check, where Albert Breer did say, and this was before today, this was yesterday, that he brought this up, that he said that the younger quarterbacks were looking better, or the backup quarterbacks were running the offense better. And you hear that frequently, that Tyson Bagent and Case Keenum were running it better. Now, this kind of goes into, yeah, but Caleb will be the guy. Caleb is learning. Caleb is understanding. So it's just that slight little reality check where he has a lot to grow. He has a lot of, opportunity to grow. And that's what we know about this. But what feels good about it is they're building Caleb the right way. They're not just trying to do just the easy stuff so that he looks good and then scale him up. Ben's saying, I want you to be in charge. I want you to be a superstar. And this is how we're going to make you a superstar. This is how we're going to make you unbeatable in the NFL. So I really like the way that they're going about this. And they're not, like they said, they're not just trying to win a couple games. They're trying to build a dynasty. They're trying to take this team to the next level. Love to see that. So let's continue on with the offensive recap. And I want to break down, I actually want to talk a little bit about yesterday first, because more stuff came out after I recorded the episode. I recorded it very, very early on. Same thing with this one too. So a couple little notes that I wanted to mention about yesterday's practice was DJ Moore was at running back. So DJ Moore got snaps back there, and there was a trick play. I'm not, you might have seen this kind of make the rounds a little bit too, but with DJ back there, they ran a little trick play. I hope the person took that down, because that was one of those where it kind of stretched the line of, okay, maybe we shouldn't be posting that out there for other people to kind of see out there. But also too, the deep ball to DJ Moore was also in one-on-ones, so it wasn't during team periods. Also, lots of people were talking about the offensive line, which will go naturally straight into this. So the offensive line, multiple people saying that it just seems even. And there was one, Clay Harbor even mentioned that he really liked seeing Karan Amagaji because he at least looked like a football player. Not saying he's better than anyone else or anything like that, but I know we were kind of talking about this on this show too, where Karan did not look like he belonged in the NFL last season and did not have a training camp. So we were saying, let's see what he can do. Let's see what he looks like. And people saying, hey, he at least looks like he belongs in the NFL, which is a big high praise for a lot of that. But it does seem everything's kind of pretty even, but many people kind of commenting on when you see Braxton Jones out there versus other people. Braxton has some very skinny little chicken legs. Now, he had a lower body injury, so he wasn't able to do as many lower body workouts. And that was one of the things that I did have a concern with, because we all know that he doesn't have an anchor. And anchor is a technical term for your butt when you're really kind of talking about that. When you're talking about lower power, you're talking about your anchor. You're talking about your quads, your glutes, right? You're talking about doing squats. He wasn't able to do any of that, and that's his biggest weakness. And it just you physically see it on him as well. So that's something that is just something that we do just need to monitor. Now, who's going to be the winner? Who's going to be the person that is getting the first team reps? Well, today, Braxton Jones was the starter, and then Ozzy ends up getting bulk share of the rest of the snaps. And a little bit of details too. Karan was kind of exclusive. It seemed like exclusively with the twos, but yeah, Braxton was starting. Ozzy then was with the third team and then went up to the first team and got some good snaps. Also reported by Braggs was that Ozzy had a good rep against Dayo Odengbo, where Dayo Odengbo got stonewalled. Also, another little comment that I saw out there with Dayo Odengbo was that saying that he didn't look as quick as you would like out of it, like a pass rusher. We'll just have to monitor that because he never really was a run stuffer. He was brought in to be a pass rusher, so hopefully he can do something like that. But yet again, he is just a big projection, a big project that you're kind of hoping pays off. We'll see. We'll see with the Dayo project. But as we continue on to, Ben said that we get more clarity on the left tackle position every day. And yeah, I think that Ben's probably not going to be putting a lot of starters out there when they do like the joint practices, put a lot of starters out there in the preseason games because those starters will be in the joint practices and getting those snaps there. With this left tackle spot, I could see them still putting out Braxton and Ozzy and kind of shifting it around that way. To me, you have 3 games. You can have one as the starter for one game, one as the starter for another game, one as the starter for another game, and just shift things around that way, right? I would love to just see Braxton Jones against the threes just because he's been going, like, we'll see him out there against the threes, be like, oh my gosh, this is the greatest offensive lineman, because there's such a difference between the different, like how good offensive linemen, there's such a huge divide with that. But as we kind of continue going on though, with the offense, there's also a lot of praise with these wide receivers. So like we said, DJ Moore trying to get out in space. That was the big report. And Ben Johnson even said he's actively trying to get the ball in DJ's hand in space. And on the flip side, you have Rome Odunze getting praise from Ben Johnson as your prototypical X receiver. He was really kind of praising how he catches the ball and also Rome Odunze's route running. Now, most people saying Rome Odunze has been the one that has been getting majority of the catches, and DJ, not so much. And you kind of expect this though, because Rome is a true wide receiver. He's someone that that him and Caleb have good, experience together and have a good bond. DJ's got the money, right? You'd like to see though, DJ catching the ball a little bit more, but like they were saying, trying to use him more in space, because if you get the ball in DJ's hands, he can do something after the catch. But still, not a lot of deep balls that have been kind of reported out there. But today, the reporting MVP is Ilian NFL. I don't know if that's an actual L or not, but shout out. He had the best kind of coverage out there with just what was going on with the snaps. So the first group of the ones were out there. He said Caleb steps up in the pocket and delivers a ball on the move to Rome for 15 yards. Then DJ had an end around for 20 yards, and he had a great block by Cole. And then Caleb throws a perfect deep ball to DJ, and then pass interference from Kyler. So very good first little drive from the offense. And then next drive, Caleb escapes after nobody was open and just basically dirted it. Caleb passed to Rome Odunze, knocked down for an incompletion, and then Caleb works back to the middle of the field and converts the first down with the ball to Colston Loveland. Also, some people saying out there too that Cole Kmet was getting some reps with the twos. Now, this is not a spot to panic and be like, wait, I thought he was the starter. I thought this was going on. They might have just been trying to, yet again, work Luther Burton in more, so you can only have how many people out there on the field, right? And I think, too, with Colston, then you're also getting him a lot more reps with the ones. So, yeah, I think that they're going to do a lot of, 2 tight end sets, as we all know. So, Cole going down there, I don't think that that's anything too crazy, but just wanted to call that out. And then last little drive with the 11 on 11s with the ones. Caleb works back to check down to Roshan Johnson for a decent gain for 7 yards. Screen to Alameda Zacchaeus that got blown up, and Caleb threw the ball away because no one was available. So obviously second team receivers were in, not great. And then Caleb works to the hot check down off a blitz and hits Swift for a completion. So some good little reps that we kind of hear there, but overall, the eye test, people are saying that it's just looking better, which is what you want to see. The other piece I want to kind of call out there too, with Roshan Johnson, like we've been kind of mentioning, Roshan Johnson does seem like he's getting some first team reps. Same thing with like a Kyle Monungai. This is not any way detracting from what DeAndre Swift is doing. It's more of just seeing what they have as kind of the David Montgomery, right? Who's going to be the Montgomery inside of this offense? And might even be just all three. Maybe they like everything that they have with all of them. Only time will tell as we kind of get closer to the regular season. But now shifting over to the defense, one thing that I wanted to just call out from yesterday was Jaquan Brisker. Jaquan Brisker had an interview and he was just kind of giddy, excited about the role that he was playing. I put him on the hype train yesterday, even before more of the information about his interview came out. But he's just continuously is making plays out there. And it's just great to hear that he's also excited because he's being put in a position to make plays. So he's being moved all over the place. Same thing with Kevin Byard, but there might not be someone as like the actual honey badger Tyrann Mathieu role out there, but it's nice to see them kind of moving and shifting these defensive players all around so that he can play the way that he wants to. So it's just nice to see him happy. And like we said yesterday, also in his contract year, it's all just good stuff. Next little piece too that I just want to bring up with this defense, undrafted rookie free agent Tysheem Johnson at safety had 2 big hits on 11-on-11s as reported by Zach Pearson. So love to see that. Tysheem Johnson is someone that I kind of liked more than Major Burns when I kind of was watching the tape. I think that he's a safer player that could just be a good special teamer. Like athletically, nothing too crazy. Major Burns is more of that, the UDFA out of LSU. But I think Johnson he just plays the position a little bit better. We're talking about UDFAs here though. So, who's going to be on the practice squad is up to there. The other piece too, TJ Edwards, huge hit on Roshan Johnson. Another piece too, Chris Williams trucked Kyle Monungai. And the other thing that I want to mention about this too, Chris Williams got a lot of love yesterday as well. The offensive line was beating the defensive line a lot, which is awesome to see. But then Chris Williams was one of the people at D tackle that was really turning heads besides Grady Jarrett. So those 2 defensive tackles doing well. Chris Williams more of the backup person. So maybe he knocks off like a Zach Pickens, unfortunately, just because Zach Pickens, there's some talks that he had a couple little good plays here and there, but it just seems like he's kind of on his way out if Chris Williams continues to play well. And last but not least, I'm just kind of going through my notes. Eric Bieniemy took snaps at running back for the 3rd team. That's right. You heard that correct. Eric Bieniemy was out there and just was having fun. But also Ben Johnson praised Dennis Allen because he just kind of talked about how he could have just laid down and just let them run their stuff. But Dennis Allen has really just turned the heat up for this defense. And we just continuously hear that. So awesome stuff. And just kind of mentioned how tight the coverage is for this defense. So good defense, offense starts clicking. Good time to be a Bears fan. You gotta love it. So if you love it too, make sure to hit the subscribe button, the notification bell, hit the like. It helps out the channel tremendously. Thank you all so much for coming out. And with that, Unbearable Sports Podcast, we are out.
Yeah, she's got some nice long hair, and you know that she's a bad chick.